Did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunt.
Hey folks, I'm your host BKP. Good morning from Circuit World of Blue Ridge. It's Friday morning. Our volumes are good. Everything's good. Amanda's on the controls over there this morning. We got, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You if you've been watching every day. No, Amanda's here with us, doing an outstanding job. We're at Circuit World Blue Ridge. JR, are you here?
Yes, sir.
All right, just checking everybody in the house. We'll have Dr. Whaley in a minute. Every Friday morning, Circuit World Blue Ridge, we have Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley at 8:15, at 8:45. At 8:45. Now, did Punxsutawney Phil, it's not easy to throw me off, right? Did Punxsutawney Phil see his shadow? I don't know. I need to know. It's Groundhog's Day, you know? I wonder how Donald Trump could screw this up. Anyhow, I'm sorry, folks. I'll get to that in just a minute because it seems like everything. Probably Morning Joe is doing a comparable to Punxsutawney Phil, Groundhog Day, and Donald Trump. I mean, they got to think of something, right? Where was I at? Oh, Circuit World. That's where I'm at. 8:45, we have the All-Star panel with Rick, Jane, Bruce, and myself. Now, I'm going to have the panel this morning try to help me figure out. I have a real dilemma here. I'm going to have Rick, Jane, and Bruce explain to me how I can maintain my boycott of the NFL, but yet still attend a Super Bowl party. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to make this work, okay? So we'll ask the All-Star panel, and we'll get into all of the topics of the week. We have a big week. We have the President State of the Union address. We have the memo. You know what? I've already noticed somebody put on Facebook yesterday that they know what their Halloween costume will be this year. They're going to go as the memo, okay? When I seen that yesterday, I thought it was really, really funny. So we have the memo, and Trump's expected to release it today. Dun, dun, dun. All right, that's at 8:45, the All-Star Political Panel. Then at 9:30, we will have, around 9:25, 9:30, we will have a Week in Review, North Georgia Sports Week in Review. TeamFYN Sports Director Jason Banks will be in here. We'll be talking about some things going on in North Georgia here in sports. 9:45, we always round out the show. We always round out the show at 9:45 with our Pet of the Week, the star of the show, the Pet of the Week from the Humane Society of Blue Ridge. Now, while the media is doing a timeline on Carter Page and his Russian vacations, I understand that, and they're all going nuts over Carter Page and the memo and the CIA and the FBI and the DOJ, and everybody's up in arms, and the deep state. I want to open it a little different direction. It is Super Bowl Sunday, okay? Now, obviously, we have our group of fans, well, they wouldn't be fans. We have you sports lovers out there that you absolutely despise, hate Bill Belichick. You call him, I've heard him Bill Belicheat, okay? You don't like Tom Brady. You don't like Bill Belichick. You don't like the Patriots, okay? Okay, fine. Have you met an Eagles fan? I mean, just saying. So we have the NFL plans to save their ratings with a Patriots-Eagles Super Bowl. Really? I, for one, hope, I really do, that we can get through the Super Bowl without the protest, and that somebody will have a half-decent commercial. I guess that's my biggest hope. Tom Brady has 5 rings, right? You have Joe Montana has 4 rings, and you have Terry Bradshaw with 4 rings. Now, if memory serves me right, these guys, you have 4 rings. They have no earpiece in the helmet. They have nobody calling in the plays from the helmet. They actually have to learn the signals on the sideline, okay? they have to call their own plays, and there's no discussion in the helmet. That's one. Terry Bradshaw and Joe Montana actually played where it was at a time when it was highly recommended you sack the quarterback, okay? It was highly recommended that LT got in there and, if possible, break Joe Theismann's leg. Now, he didn't do that on purpose, but I'll never forget that Monday night game. I'll never forget the Monday night game when I watched Joe Theismann's leg actually go the wrong way. I said, oh, it doesn't bend that way, okay? But there was a time when it was highly encouraged to see if you can really hit that quarterback. So here's my opinion before the Patriots win the Super Bowl. Because my prediction, and I'll do this on a sports segment, I predict the Patriots will win the Super Bowl. That's my prediction. If the Eagles fans win the Super Bowl, you know, they'll burn down Philadelphia. I don't know. I mean, just watch what happens in Philly if they win. But when the Patriots win the Super Bowl and Tom Brady has 6 rings and the discussion starts about the greatest quarterback to ever play in the NFL, okay, when that all comes down, okay, I think where they have the, is it in Ohio? Canton, Ohio, right? The Hall of Fame? JR, help me here. Thank you, JR. So in Canton, Ohio, in the Hall of Fame, I feel they should pick a year and they should put the section of touch football in, okay? They should put like real football and then flag football. Touch/flag football, where all you can do is touch the quarterback, all you can do is touch a receiver, and if you do anything else, they throw a flag. So I think they put a new section in Canton there. I don't know why I got started on that. But the Super Bowl's this weekend, a lot of talk about it. How do you feel? Who do you think is going to win, the Patriots or the Eagles? I think the Patriots will win, all right? Now, when we have our sports segment, I'm going to tell you what I really think about Bill Belichick. It's 8:08 this morning. We're at Circuit World here. Now, we have Dr. Whaley coming in just a minute. We're going to ask him the flu, folks. We talk about it here, but our focus is going to be the flu, and it's very dangerous. It is very dangerous situation, the flu, and that's our questions and surrounding this morning. I know, I hope some of you haven't had to deal with it, but it's very dangerous, and Dr. Whaley's going to focus on that this morning. What do you think about the memo? Should they release the memo? What do you think? Should Donald Trump release the memo? How about this week, Nancy Pelosi's face? You know, that went viral. What all do we have to talk about? I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from Circuit World here in Blue Ridge. And we're going to take a brief break, and when we get back, it's going to be time for Ask the Doc. Touch football section in the Hall of Fame. That's what I think. Take us a break.
Ace is your healthful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers, and North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Medium Pizza Hut pizzas just $5.99 each.
Did they say Pizza Hut?
For $5.99?
Yes, and yes.
Yes! Introducing the deal you want on the pizza you crave. 2 medium pizzas, just $5.99 each. No one out pizzas the hot.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart.
Days Chevrolet in Jasper is dropping the hammer. Over $11,000 off MSRP on new Silverados. Just look what we've done to the price on this new LT Crew Cab. Save over $11,000 and pay just $32,500. And Days Chevy is dropping the hammer in a big way on all new Chevy Malibus. Save over $6,500 and pay just $17,900. The savings are real and they're big at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
I've had the time of my life. I never felt like this before. I swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you. I'll tell you something. This could be love because I've had the time of my life. I've never felt like this before, 'cause I've had the time of my
Folks, we're back, and I'm your host, BKP, and we're at Circuit World here in Blue Ridge. It is Groundhog Day. I think we just noticed that Poxitani Phil said, Dr. Whaley, 6 more weeks of winter, right?
Saw his shadow, yep.
Saw his shadow.
Right.
So with that highly scientific data that we know there's 6 more weeks of winter from Poxitani Phil, Dr. Whaley, that leads us right into our flu discussion this morning.
Which we've been having, by the way, for 5 months.
This is our segment, Ask the Doc, with Dr. William Whaley. We thank the Georgia Cancer Specialist for this segment. Before we get started, you got anything this morning? You're always anything on the soup, or just anything?
Well, you know, you started right off with the NFL.
Oh, no.
And I'm just going to go into one quick thing about the NFL. I saw a study that came out yesterday. We've been talking about head injuries and all that stuff in children and everything. This really interested me. In 1980, you'll remember that there was a strike, and they had replacement players. You remember?
Oh, yes,
some
sir.
good players too.
Absolutely.
All right. So if you want to look for a control group of people that are NFL kind of equals not playing in the NFL, it's kind of hard to find them, isn't it? Because who would you compare to NFL players? Well, the replacements are about as close as you'll get in terms of demographics and body size and everything else. And so 1980, yeah, that seems like yesterday, but that's almost 40 years ago. So what this study did was it took the players that were playing in the NFL that went out on strike and the replacement players that came in to replace them, and then it followed them for the next 37 years, and looked at their health. Now, what do you think they learned? We've been talking. Well, come on, you got to.
I'm not
sure. All right. Now, what is it that we've said that about NFL players and concussion and stuff? Well, interestingly enough, the NFL players versus the strikers had a longer life expectancy than the strikers, from less heart disease, less in the way of stroke, but they had a higher death rate from neurological disorders, which are not real common. Remember, there's 4 of us in this room right now. That means that 2.5 of us are going to die of heart disease and stroke. And we'd have to have 100 people in here before one would die of ALS or Parkinson's disease or something. So those NFL players, everybody's talking about they have a lot more neurological disorders. It was not statistically significant, but they did have more neurological disorders. And one other thing, Amanda, that the players died of, and it's so common that you might not even think of it, the ones that were NFL players died more of than the ones that replaced them just for that one season. What do you think that might be? It's a lifestyle thing. What do we talk about every day when we're in here? What do we talk about just about all the time when we're around our friends that's got a lifestyle epidemic that's not flu? Drugs. The NFL players that played in the NFL had a higher incidence of alcohol and drug-related fatalities and incidents than the replacement players did. Now, they're in the same demographic and same everything else, and the only thing I can think of that would make that happen is economics. They made money when the other guys didn't, and they've got the groupies and the backstage stuff. So anyway, it was interesting. The NFL players did have a longer life expectancy. They did, and they had a little more in the way of neurological diseases and more drug and alcohol problems. So anyway, that's it.
No, that was pretty good because that led me right in. That was a perfect segue for me to ask you, who do you think is going to win?
Oh, I think Alabama's definitely going to win. Oh, excuse me, you're talking about the Super Bowl? I don't think you can go against the Patriots, but I would really love to see the Patriots get beat, purely because I like the idea of the second string downtrodden quarterback coming back and resurrecting himself. It's such an American story. We saw this president's speech the other night talking about American stories.
Yes.
Talking about the small business and moving into the space next door.
He laid out in his speech the other night, he laid out stories. And when he got done, I mean, it just oozed America. I mean, and people that went through adversity, the guy with the crutches, the North Korean guy that with the crutches. I mean, it just kept on, right?
Yeah, and the small business guy who's just like here you are. You're in a small business, and the guy, takes the space next door. He's enlarging his business. He's hiring 12 more people. Well, that's why I kind of like to see Philadelphia and that quarterback.
It is a good story. I'll go with that. But have you ever met a Philly fan?
I've got a daughter that lives in Philly, and it's the same with the Flyers as it is. Right? Yeah. Anyway, all right.
All right. Let's move.
I said I would like to see them win. You asked me who I think's going to win. It's going to be bean soup and Boston beans.
Boston beans. Our first guest this morning. We have one Patriot win and two, because I think they'll win two. This is a great question, Dr. Whaley, because it confuses me also. I see so many things on TV, and I'm not for sure what to make of it. What are the different types? What's the difference in the flu types? I've seen an A, a B strain, others. I'm not sure what they all mean. What are the flu types that we're hearing? What's out there, and what can we make out of what we hear?
Amanda, I got a question for you. If you get run over by a truck and it tears your car all up and you survive, do you care whether it was made by Mack or International or Fruhoff?
No, I do not.
What hit you?
A car.
A truck. All right. So basically, what difference does it make? Is the first thing, and people, I remember A.D. Frazier one time was talking to me about the flu strain. I said, A.D., the flu is going to, okay, influenza A, which is what we have going around now, is the flu strain that can infect animals and birds and humans. You remember the bird flu?
Right.
Okay, the bird flu, and what was that? It's 50% fatal. H5N9 bird flu is 50% fatal to people. 50%. That's one of the influenza A's. So the A is the type that can infect animals, can infect poultry, can infect birds, and it is constantly mutating. And that's why this particular year, this epidemic that we've got is influenza A type in H3N2, and the vaccine we had this year did have that in it. Now the CDC predicted way back in the summer and the fall that it would be 33% effective against infection with that virus, that flu strain. Now, when they say effective, they mean that the people that get the flu get the shot versus don't get the shot would have about 35% fewer cases of flu. Not that it's 100% effective, but that other 70% will have a shorter course, less severe. All right, so A's got bunches of subtypes. It's constantly mutating. It can come out of vectors like your, dogs and everything else. And that is epidemic flu, what we have now. Influenza B does not infect animals. It's only humans. It can only be passed from human to human, and it doesn't cause epidemics like this. So all your epidemics are A, and then the kind of severe bird flu, Hong Kong flu, and flu that they really go nuts over when they have it are B flus. And what I had said earlier in the year is it's not too late right now to get a flu shot, because the A hasn't started going down. It's still going up, and we're in February, and it should have peaked the first week in January. And there's going to be a wave of B later in the year. Then this season may go through the middle of May. So B is humans only. A has got a reservoir out there of animals. There's a C that causes a much milder illness and is not carried in animals. But the real truth is, why do you care what it is? Because if you got the flu, you're sick.
Well, using your truck reference,
yes,
it doesn't matter what the flu strain is. If you get it, you feel like you got hit by a truck.
Yes, that's it.
Bottom line, right?
That's why I use it. Yeah,
it does, you just okay.
You hurt all over. All right.
All right. Now wait a minute, but I want to stay with that because our other questions surrounding that. We'll go to the second one last. I want to go to the third one because it's staying with the discussion of the flu out there, folks. What are the precautions I can take to avoid the flu besides the flu shot? Obviously, you encourage people to get the flu shot, but what are other ways to avoid getting the flu that our viewers could make sure they're aware of?
Well, I can tell you that if you think of a monastery in Conyers, Georgia, where the monks have individual pods, and they come together to eat and to pray, and that's it, then if you could do that, then you probably won't get the flu. In other words, it's exposure to human beings that gives you the flu. And there's a list of 9 things that you're supposed to do, but the very first one is, you remember for the last few weeks, we've been shaking hands like this. Do it again. It is hand-to-hand contact with the virus, which is spread by droplets, coughing, or sneezing. And when you sneeze, I'm sure you've seen the ads on television, you sneeze here, that television set's 15 feet away. That virus gets as far as that television set. So when you go in the Ingles and you go in the grocery store and you have a cart and you put your hands on that cart, you're exposing yourself to 100 people that have been on that cart that day. They have the little wipe there. You do the wipe. I've got a patient who's got diabetes. He's a little bit over 60, and he has a chronic low-grade anemia, so he's got a good long life expectancy, but he's got an increased chance with those illnesses of having a bad outcome from flu. And he told me last week, here's what he's doing. He's shopping at Ingles at 5 and 6 in the morning when there's nobody in there except the guys that are stocking the shelves. That when he goes to church, he goes a half an hour early before everybody comes, and he sits up in the balcony with the guy that's working the soundboard and showing the slides and everything. And other than that, he's staying home. So that's the extreme, to stay away from people. But after that, it's hand washing, it's keeping your surfaces all clean. But the most likely place you're going to get the flu is back at your home. So I want to say a little bit about, Amanda, you're sick, or you've got a sick child, or you've got a sick somebody in the house, and you have to think more about how to stay away from their illness than you really do about the illness that's out in the community. So if somebody is ill in your home and they have a fever of 100 degrees and they're aching and they're sick, one, they should stay home and not go out. Two, you get them paper plates, you get them disposable forks and knives and stuff, you get them straws and paper cups, you get them paper towels instead of towels, you get them tissues, and you put them in a room and you keep everybody away from them. And you actually serve them their meals on stuff you can throw away. Because otherwise, the kids are going to bring the dishes in and the kids are going to bring the glass in and set it up there and drink out of it. You really want to isolate that person that has a real major illness from the rest of the house. So that people don't usually think about that terribly much. So in protecting yourself, it's really clean the surfaces that you're around. Don't, shake hands like that so you're not passing germs. Wipe stuff off if you are in a public place like the supermarket or the drugstore and you have to push a cart. Jane, when we travel, always forgets them, but if you imagine that you're at the airport and you get on the escalator and you grab hold of that handrail on the escalator, you're not only getting the last 200 people from Fannin County who went shopping with that cart, you're getting people from every country in the world that have been on that thing. So it's sort of that stuff.
So, the hand sanitizer, when I go shopping, I make sure that there's the sanitary wipes and I wipe the hands off of there.
Do you carry it in your pocket?
What, hand sanitizer?
Yeah.
I keep it in my bag.
Okay, but you got, that's what I meant. I mean, you can't carry it in your bag. All right, you keep it in your bag. So the thing about the hand sanitizer is that when you have been in, let's say you talked on a telephone, public telephone, or you used a computer, at the hotel to get your boarding pass or something. As soon as you get off of that, it ought to be a habit to use the hand sanitizer. You will notice in every physician office, hospital, emergency room, everywhere else, on the outside of the room and in every corridor and next to every elevator is one of those dispensers of the hand sanitizer. Now, my hands are just as dry as a bone because I saw a lot of patients yesterday, and that means that I sanitized my hands twice for every patient I saw, because it's foam in, foam out if you happen to have the foam, or it's wipe in, wipe out if you have the other type. But that's really very important for people to keep in their own automobiles a good place, or in your little bags a good place.
Okay, now our final question this morning, is it okay? Well, let me ask you, let me stay with the flu just one more minute before we move to our final question. I am looking at a map here earlier on one of these 40 TVs at Circuit World.
That's the best picture one.
You like that one?
That's the one he says is 10K NAACP IRS or something,
yeah, it's got
something
all kinds of initials on that one.
It's got something on it.
But that has a great picture. But They put up a map, and they were highlighting in red the states with flu and just how serious it is earlier this morning, and it's big news.
Well, the only state in the union that doesn't have a documented epidemic is Hawaii.
Right. It is actually very big news. Now, why this year, or why does it seem like every year it gets worse? Is it just me, or is every year?
No, I think it's not worse. It's not just worse every year, but I don't want to, be one of those doomsday guys. But this virus that we have right now today constantly mutates. And if you just go back and think about HIV, I don't want to put the flu and the HIV in the same category.
I understand.
But HIV is the mutation of a monkey virus that got to where it could infect humans.
Right.
And then it infected the whole world, and it's the biggest infectious scourge we've ever had, and worse than the plague of 1610 or 1590 or whatever the year was. So we can't predict what's going to happen to these viruses. They're going to continue to mutate. And if it mutates really bad, you go back to the bird flu that we had years ago that was 50% fatal. So what the CDC and the pharmaceutical industry is trying to do is come up with a universal flu vaccine. Remember, smallpox eliminated smallpox. I've got a scar on my arm where I was vaccinated against smallpox back in 1940, I guess. And then I was vaccinated against smallpox in 1958 when I went in the first got commissioned in the military. Well, kids had never even heard of smallpox anymore. They got rid of it. Polio, they're not anymore polio. So they were able to focus vaccines on these viral illnesses and eliminate them. You haven't been able to do that with influenza because the daggone thing keeps changing on you. And so they're trying to come up with finding some common key. You have the whole human genome, and if you could find a vaccine against eye color, for example, then the rest of it would get the rest of you. That's sort of how the future prevention will go, is all these fancy geneticists will figure out a common bit of the flu virus that they can come with a vaccine against, and then it can go out here and mutate all at once. And I think that's going to be the secret, because that virus is going to change all the time.
Okay, our final question this morning for Dr. Whaley, and again we thank Georgia Cancer Specialists for this segment every Friday morning. Is it okay to start a reasonable workout regimen without an okay from your doctor if you haven't worked out in a while? So you haven't worked out in a while, in a long time, you want to start a reasonable workout. Is it okay without going to your doctor first and saying, hey, can I start working out?
Absolutely. Actually, your doctor isn't the one to tell you if it's safe for you to go work out if you are a normal person, because the key to that question there was reasonable workout. As I say, for 40 years I ran marathons, and I had a lecture I used to give, and I've given it all over the country, that says, life is a 5-card poker hand with no draw. Meaning that you got your genetics when you were born. You can't change them, but you can play them better or worse depending on lifestyle. So the reasonableness of an exercise program, if you don't have some chronic illness and you don't have heart disease and you're just an average guy, then the thing is to be smart about it. I tell people this: the recommended amount of exercise is walking for 1 hour, roughly at the pace of 4 miles in an hour or close, 5 times a week. So if you tell somebody that, and they're in reasonable shape, you got Amanda over there, you're in reasonable shape, what do you do every day that you could begin doing that wouldn't hurt? Everybody walks. And so if you're parked at a mall down in Canton and you had a long way to get into the mall, 15 minutes is a reasonable amount of time that you should be able to walk, right? So I would tell you 5 days a week, walk 15 minutes a day for 2 weeks. Make sure you got proper foot gear and that you're not walking in a place where somebody's going to hit you with a car or going to shoot you, and where you're safe. And when you have walked for 2 weeks, 15 minutes a day, 5 times a week, I haven't said one word about pace or distance, just time, 15 minutes. You say, okay, I've had all my little aches and pains I'm likely to get. The shoes fit pretty good. My outfit looks good. I'm enjoying it. Go to 17 or 18 minutes a day, 5 days a week for a week. Okay, nothing happened. I feel pretty good. Go to 21 minutes. In other words, don't go up by 15 one week, 30 the next, 45 the next, an hour the next, because if you do, in 3 months you'll have a stress fracture, and you'll say, wait a minute, I haven't changed anything. That's called overuse. Now I'm going to give you one quick, I know we got plenty of time. All right. In exercise, there are only 3 variables: frequency, intensity, and duration. So frequency is days a week, intensity is pace, duration be time or distance. So if you make an arithmetic product in your head of frequency, intensity, and duration, and you increase that by less than 10% a week, then you are getting in shape safely and slowly, and you will not hurt yourself. If you increase that by greater than 10% a week and do that repeatedly, then you're going to end up hurting somewhere. You're going to have tendonitis, or your back's going to hurt, or you'll have a pulled muscle or a stress fracture. And that is the biggest issue. People are impatient. Rome wasn't built in a day, and the tortoise and the hare, I always say the tortoise, because my wife, you'll see her later. She'll work out, and she doesn't work out for 6 weeks. Then she goes to the guy, and she works out for an hour and a half, and the next 2 days later she hurts. So that's an infinite violation of the 10% rule. So yes, it's safe to start.
So did you come here and tell us that your wife violates the 10%
rule?
Okay, I'm just checking.
All right, so the question was a reasonable exercise program, and the answer would be yes. And the definition of reasonable would be to do something that seems relatively common in your activity, and do it for a baseline period for several weeks religiously, and then increase it only a little bit. So let's say then after you've done that, you're talking about lifting a few weights. Well, I tell people that if you put a 1 pound hand weight in each hand, that's like a can of pork and beans, and you walk a mile, which is 1,500 steps, and you do this with each step, when you've reached the end of a mile, you've lifted 1 ton, because that's 3,000 of these in 1,500 steps. How much do you have to lift in the health club to have lifted 1 ton? A lot. So that's kind of slow and steady. Osteoporosis prevention. Women really wanted to know they should exercise to protect their bones. Well, I tell them the best exercise in the world is that woman in Africa who's got the little basket on her head and the bucket of water on the basket, and she walks around all the time, so that force is going straight through the weight-bearing portions of her body. That's what you have to worry about breaking. And how can you duplicate that not living in Africa and not with a bucket on top of your head? Well, your arms are attached way up here. You're worried about your spine and your hips. Walk with my 1 pound hand weight and do that. That's all you have to do. So reasonable is the key word in the question, and the answer is yes.
Give me those 3 parts again.
Frequency, intensity, and duration.
Frequency, intensity, and duration. It don't increase over 10% a week.
That's correct.
And because if you're going to walk on the treadmill for an hour at a rate, don't go back the next day and say I'm going to get an hour and 20 minutes and up it.
Right,
the speed,
but an hour's way too much.
It is?
Yeah, if you started at an hour, that's way too much, because you didn't walk an hour. For the last 6 months, you haven't walked an hour every day. I say get on the treadmill, if that's what you're going to do, and get on it at a comfortable pace and put it flat and walk 15 minutes and stop. That takes discipline to stop. Walk it 15 minutes and stop. 5 days and 7, so that you've got some rest 2 weeks in a row. Now your goal is 60 minutes. But see, that's exactly, you asked your question exactly the way people get in trouble. You don't go and get on the treadmill and walk an hour. You get on the treadmill, you walk 15 minutes, and you get off. And that's what takes discipline. It takes more discipline to limit yourself as you begin an exercise program than it does to hurt yourself by continually accelerating it.
I like it. Okay, so if you don't exercise at all and you start, don't go for the hour.
No, just walk 15 minutes.
Just walk 15 minutes.
5 days a week for 2 weeks.
Got it.
With the right kind of shoes on.
All right, folks, we're almost, this segment's almost complete. Dr. Whaley, Georgia Cancer Specialist, thank you. But we always like to give our friend here a closing moment.
Well, I got two.
All right, a couple closing moments.
All right, okay, now I want you guys to listen to this. We've been sitting
Everybody
here.
Listen up. You at home,
All right,
all-star
Amanda,
panel
all right.
in the wing.
Okay, in an effort not to create havoc here, these TVs, you can't see them at home, are tuned to Fox, and those are tuned to MSNBC, and the picture's terrible on those, and don't buy those. But if you sat here for the last hour and watched the what do you call it when they type the thing?
Exactly, I
that you
understand.
watched what they're saying. The MSNBC ones would say the White House wants to release the memo, and there are people there who think there's nothing in it and it might be a time bomb, and that's the MSNBC one. And over here they're saying, we hope that they can release the memo today, and then that it's going to drive criticism of the FBI and blah blah blah. And it's two separate messages that you can stand right here in this store and watch them coming on two adjacent televisions. It'll drive you nuts.
Well, we talked about that, and we'll talk about that with the All-Star panel, because I'm glad you brought that point up. We at Circuit World here, no exaggeration, we might have 40 TVs going, and when we come in the morning, we set those on different news channels, and Dr. Whaley is 100% right. When you're looking at these TVs, you see the different message they're trying to indoctrinate the American people
side by
with.
side.
Right. You see the different message
Yeah.
just like that.
Just like that.
I agree with you.
All right.
So, Patriots, you think?
Okay, yeah,
all
wait.
right, you had two.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait. In California, there is a bill to put cancer warning labels on coffee and all Starbucks and that type of stores, as the coffee might cause cancer. Now, you've seen lots and lots of these things where it says the evidence is, the U.S. Department of so-and-so has labeled this chemical as a cancer-causing chemical. Here's my tab. Jane tells me, go call me, give me cancer. But the data that coffee prevents cancer or causes cancer is about equal. But the pinko lefty people in California says, well, if there's any evidence at all that it's bad, we ought to label that it's bad and ignore the part that it's good. I think that's a little bit of what we're seeing in those two screens.
A little bit?
Yeah. Maybe a lot.
Ask the Doc, Georgia Cancer Specialist, thank you very much. And if you have a question for Dr. Whaley, if you'll send that to us, info, I-N-F-O, info at fetchyournews.com. Put in the subject line, Ask the Doc. We'll get those questions to Dr. Whaley every Friday morning at 8:15. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. It's time now for the All-Star Political Panel. We're going to be asking all three of them how they can help me through to figure out how I maintain my NFL boycott but yet go to a Super Bowl party. I've got to have the panel's answer on that. We'll be back right after these messages.
Kinty Artesian Silver and Gifts, the Peruvian shop, located in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge at Sycamore Crossing. Fine sterling silver, luxurious baby alpaca and exotic woods. A beautiful selection of exquisitely crafted gifts for all of your special occasions. Visit our website, artesiansilvergifts.com, or follow us on Twitter at Artesian Silver Gifts. Kinty Artesian Silver and Gifts, the Peruvian shop in downtown Blue Ridge. Papa's Pizza to Go in downtown Blue Ridge is the best in the area all-you-can-eat buffet. Call ahead or order online now at papaspizzatogo.com. Use our convenient pickup window for the best in pizza, subs, wings, breadsticks, salads, and more. And be sure to check out our lively game room. We serve lunch and dinner, catering available, take out or dine in. Papa's Pizza to Go in Blue Ridge, proud sponsors of the Fannin County Rebels.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win, win, win. And if you going in, put your hands in the air, make them stay there. All I do is win, win.
The Tupelo Tea mission is to provide over 80 premium tea blends for tea lovers who are looking for ways to explore new flavors and blends. Come visit Tupelo Tea, located in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge at Sycamore Crossing. Be sure to sample our various varieties of honey and tea. Visit us on the web at tupelotea.com or call us at 706-946-TEAS. That's TEAS. Tupelo Tea, located in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Hey Rebel fans, come visit the Dairy Queen Grill and Chill of Blue Ridge, Fannin County High School's Meet, Eat, and Treat headquarters. Highway 5 in Blue Ridge. Proud sponsors of the Fannin County Rebels.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Hey folks, we're back on BKP and we're at Circuit World in Blue Ridge. It's time for our all-star political panel. We have Jane, Rick, and Bruce. You know, I think we should go on the road. I really do. Hey? I think we should take the show on the road.
Where to?
I mean, just think.
We are on the road.
Oh,
we're
we are on the road.
World.
Yeah, but just think if like we would do like coffee shops across America in the morning. I mean, you know, I think people would love it. Right?
Remember when
Get a bus,
O'Reilly
get a bus.
O'Reilly and Dennis Miller
Yeah, no.
Oh my gosh,
Took
were they
themselves on the
funny.
road. They were funny.
Huh?
Would that be a
Dennis Miller.
34-foot bus or a 42?
I need my
I want my
private
own sleeping
room. I
room. I
need
want
a
my own
private
bedroom.
room on the bus.
I want my own bedroom.
You want a private room?
On the bus. I want the one in the back with the bathroom.
She wants the Star Suite.
We have
Yeah.
the Star Suite.
Star Suite. Get on the bus, Gus.
All right. Anyhow, this is the All-Star Political Panel where we bring up the week in review and we throw some subjects out and just talk about it. I've decided in the panel to put my notes away. I don't have the computer. Just put them away, okay? Now, Bruce is the only one allowed to bring notes because we have gotten used to, and we're on our Saul Alinsky, right? We're on our Rules for Radical.
Number 3 in the series.
This is series
Number
3.
3 in the series.
This is our
Aren't there
third
12?
series. Okay, where must we start? All right, let's go
I think
with...
we need to solve the Super Bowl
4 in the
dilemma
series.
first.
You want the Super... Okay, let's start there.
Let's go with the Super Bowl
Okay,
dilemma.
I need your help because I have boycotted the football all year except for one game where I was tricked in and chili was used to entice me into watching 12 minutes of a game that but so how
I
do
got
I
him to come to my house.
Food was a dog whistle.
Yeah, with the...
so
No, I had
Yeah,
to
I gotta-
entice him with a puppy.
I get a
Wanna
note.
come into my house?
Chili, cornbread, and meet the new dog. All right, I'm on my way. And the next thing I know, the NFL's on TV. So how do I maintain? See, I have an email, and the first line says jambalaya, and I said, "Ooh, they got me a jambalaya." Okay, but how do I maintain my boycott and go to a Super Bowl party?
Just turn your back to the television.
Back to the television. That's your okay.
Well, that works.
Will it? What about you?
I'd go out on the deck with a copious amount of cigars and just start.
Is that what you would do?
Yeah.
Is
Okay,
it
I like
listening
that.
and watching or just watching?
Oh, listening. There could be a
I mean,
catch.
turn your back. You're
And
not
you can
watching.
listen.
You're lying to yourself, but it might work.
Lying to myself. Okay, we have lying to myself as one of the answers. Cigar on the side porch.
Yeah.
And what say you?
Earplugs and blinders.
Earplugs and blinders.
tough.
Okay.
I have one other one.
What?
What?
You can do the Pelosi.
We'll,
can sit there and
we'll give
suck
you
your
a lemon.
dentures.
We'll give you a lemon so you can chew on it.
Yeah, you can suck your dentures for an hour and 20 minutes while the man, the myth, the
There's
legend.
no perfect solution. I mean,
All right, so we want to get to the big things that's happening through the week, so let's get this out of the way. Patriots or Eagles?
Patriots.
Patriots or Eagles?
Heart or mind? Which one you want? From my heart or from my mind?
Why you got to make this difficult?
Well, that's what I do. My mind says Patriots. My heart says Eagles.
Ditto.
You got a ditto.
Ditto. D-I-T-T-O.
But you think the Patriots will win?
Well, I'm tired of Tom
I
Brady.
mean,
After he cheated, I am over him, and I want the Eagles to win. I'm going to root for the Eagles.
All right,
You
so
got to
you're
have
going to root
someone
for
to
the
root
Eagles.
for. It's no fun anyway.
And you think Tom Brady
Well, I
cheated?
think he might. If I had to put $5 on it, it's hard to bet against Alabama and Tom Brady.
It's hard.
I heard that.
You know what? When you do
Even though he
that,
didn't play
let's get to politics. But when you say that,
No,
no,
but I
joke,
mean-
no jokes
Yeah,
aside,
yeah,
when
yeah.
it's hard to bet against the Alabama and Tom Brady, go and read the Nick Saban Bill Belichick relationship. And what you said is you hit a home run. It's hard to bet against those two. Go read the Nick Saban, Bill Belichick relationship, and you're 100% right there. Okay.
Nothing else happened this week. We could just keep talking about the Super Bowl.
No. Okay, let's go memo. Do we release the memo, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes or
Of
no?
course.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh my God.
I mean, like now.
Now.
I'm got my phone on emergency alert when it comes out.
I'd prefer to.
What kind of jingle should we be listening for that tells Jane the memo's out there?
Memo's out.
Memo's out.
Why,
So
why do you
prefer
want to
Monday.
wait? Why?
why do you prefer Monday?
Because there's all this build up to the Super Bowl and everything. Just keep them,
Keep them dangling.
It'll be the beginning of the news week. I mean, it'll be carried all week. Now you're going to
Yeah, but
have
now
the
if they
game
do-
and all this other stuff in between.
But if
so.
they do it now, then all the Sunday shows can have 45 minutes of
Okay, what
banter.
about you?
Well, I think that Trump's having this tete-a-tete, what is it? I don't know the right word, with football. So I think he's going to release it today and just say, screw you, everyone. I mean,
Jane, this is a live show.
I mean,
there's children watching.
They're in school.
They're in school.
So, I mean, the thing is that I can't wait any longer. I mean, I just can't wait any longer. And I think Trump's going to release it today. I hope he releases it today.
Ants at her pants.
They say that Obama's going to be outed. I mean, he is there. I mean, it's just going to be fabulous.
I have a question. This is not a joke. This is not a joke because
it's in the joke.
Go ahead.
Part of that I didn't hear. Obama's going to be outed
indirectly. He was all part of the
but not directly.
He gave us. Well, yeah.
All right, wait. I want to move this. I want to move this along because as the viewers out there, I watch MSNBC every morning at 6 a.m. to see the direction they are going. Okay, and they are actually making fun of us. They're making fun of us, us and the rest of Americans that believe certain things. They're making fun. They're making jokes.
We got mentioned by name.
Yeah, they say there's a guy named Bruce. There's a guy. They know a guy. All right, but here's a serious question. This is very serious.
All right,
and then we can get into the discussion.
Okay,
do you believe there's a deep state, Bruce? Do you believe in the deep state?
Somewhat, yes.
Somewhat. Do you believe in the deep state?
100%.
Would you
deep, dark, dastardly, dumb, demonstrate? I mean. All those things.
Democrats.
There's a deep state, and there's been a deep state since before World War II.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just continued, probably World War I. I mean, there are things that you don't know that would shock you.
Shocking.
Yeah, there are. I mean, look at Pearl Harbor. Now there's things coming out about that. I mean, there's so much to know that will terrify you. I mean, it's hard to just get through the day knowing if they don't take this stuff down, this country's tough.
So should I guess when I asked you if there's a deep state, your answer was yes?
Yeah.
Is that what I said? Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it.
And there's a shadow government, and they're different.
Okay. So, wait a minute. Let's go back to Bruce. Somewhat. I want you to come back with why was your answer somewhat?
Well, because I was going to ask you, what's the definition of a deep state?
I don't know. Jane gave it to you.
Well, okay. Dastardly.
Dastardly.
But
okay, you want the definition.
Give him the definition.
Do you know the definition? You can
no,
do it.
I want you. No. I'm putting it out. That's what I like to do. Is I just like to put the discussion out there. I mean, I have all week. I got 4 days.
Time. Give us
I got 4 days to do what I want to do.
The deep state is a conglomeration of the CIA, the FBI, a lot of the CIA. They have their own funds. They've had it for. I forget when it was signed. It's $1 trillion a year. They have their own Air Force, their own Army. It is a conglomeration of globalists and New World Order generals, politicians, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, New World Order that are in control. Mostly because now they have the CIA's involved, and they run the thing. And they thought what we're seeing in this memo has been going on for so long through Bush, through Clinton's, and they thought it was going right on through Hillary. Why?
Both Bushes.
Both Bushes. And this is why they were so blatant in what they did. They thought it's all just going to walk. And when Trump beat them, and I think it was part of the blue full moon thing. I mean, it's all kind of in the stars. I think it's guided by history
and philosophy. Were there any exotic dancers involved with this?
I don't know. You have to ask MSNBC.
Okay, all right. Let's. Okay, I'm with you. I like everywhere you were going. Okay, because I'm not. If we're going to get into I want to talk more about the memo. But if we're going to get into very deep, I think you're 100% right. People are putting this in a window of a couple years. They're putting this into a window of Obama, but they need the deep state. They need to put this in the real window. I mean, Rick will tell you, I am so tired of hearing the Nixon Saturday Night Massacre. I did a segment on my show this past week. I had a segment where I actually explained the Saturday Night Massacre, and they're trying to parallel They're trying to parallel. Was it Archibald Cox? Who was he? Right? He was the special prosecutor that was appointed by the Attorney General. So they're trying to parallel that this memo is the way, the catalyst for Trump to be able to fire Mueller and Rosenstein and Ray.
Rosenstein first, and then
then
bring in a new guy,
and he'll fire Mueller, and then Christopher Wray, the head of the FBI, will resign, and this is going to be his Saturday Night Massacre. Did you see the FBI? And this is what has really angered me, is that we are told as the American people we can't question some things, and that angers me. Now that takes me right to anger, that how dare us question the FBI? Well, they're no different. I mean, what makes them so great that we can't question, the corruption at the top of the FBI or the DOJ, okay? The FBI, did you see what the FBI released concerning the memo, getting out in front of it, that the accuracy of, did you see that?
They changed it, they revised it, it's all a pack of lies. I mean, they are so terrified. They are running for
so they ran interference and sent out a memo saying, what was it exactly? Their memo or their statement they put out. What did they say, Rick, in that statement?
Just serious concerns about the validity of
exactly.
accuracy of some of the facts, and it would compromise, operatives.
You know what? I heard a CNN guy say he actually thought Nunes was a Russian agent. He looks like a Russian agent.
I told you that the other day, didn't I? I told you that. I did it the other day.
He is a Russian agent.
Yes, sir.
I about flipped.
Ask Rick what the other day. I told you on my show. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm watching 6 o'clock in the morning and just setting up what I do. I come in, I turn on my computer, I'm reading, I'm making notes, I'm sending Amanda pictures for the day, and getting the show ready. So I got MSNBC playing in the background, and I'm hearing Mike Barnacle.
What's a barnacle?
I always wonder, what the hell's a barnacle?
I can't even spell that one. Where's the E and the A?
I'm hearing Mike Barnacle, Joe Scarborough, and somebody else, I forget, and they actually were having a 3-minute discussion on Nunes being a double agent, and the Russians have infiltrated the Republican Party.
Yeah.
So is that
I'm serious. This is not a joke.
Stuff?
No.
But that's what they said.
That's just peripheral.
Well, the deep state, though. I mean, you're saying it goes back decades.
It does.
There's no party affiliation. So it's a cabal of Democrats and Republicans.
Cabal is a great choice of words.
It is, and it's. Do you know that Prescott Bush, the granddaddy of?
But I mean, they just passed the buck through a different administration.
They're all. First of all, they're all kind of married in. Prescott Bush, the daddy of Daddy Bush, I think it was the Union Bank, funded the German army. Ford sold them all the motors they needed, and then Roosevelt knew that it was Prescott, and I think it was who else on the other bank, and he closed the bank down. Closed the bank. Did they go to jail for being treasonous selling? No, but they just closed the bank down. Well, hell.
Okay. I love where you're going, but I got to bring.
That's the deep
I understand.
state.
I love where you're going, but I got to bring it back in.
Reel it back in.
Yeah.
All right, the Russian operative Nunes. So no, I love where you're going.
Yeah.
We have to, but the memo should be released. The American people should see the memo.
Absolutely.
Sometime in the next 3 days.
That's what our country's predicated on.
Okay. We do not have time. We've done it here. We've done a great job here. We have out in front. No, I mean, we don't have time to go into this subject. But, for those of you at home, you watch the major networks. I have to tell you, if you would watch this show daily and then Friday this group get together, we've done a great job with McCabe. We've talked about that. We go all the way back from Terry McAuliffe. We've done all of that on this show. Let me switch gears off the memo for the minute to the State of the Union address. Let's go there. Let's go positive, okay? What did you think of the President's State of the Union address?
I thought it was very good. It was very presidential. I think he hit a lot of points, and I don't think he was shy about addressing some of the things that he talked about, which I think is good. A lot of people said, you shouldn't be so aggressive, but I thought it was excellent.
And you?
I think, notwithstanding the fact that I think it was maybe the best I've ever heard, And I think that sentiment has been echoed several times. But the cool thing was, there's a lot of never-Trumpers coming out and saying, you know, what he said was pretty well stated, and, you know, where they're starting to come around. He's starting to convert some of the never-Trumpers, which I think is really amazing.
And he resonated with the independents.
It's her turn.
No, Bruce. I think Trump is a genius. You've always said that. We agree on that. But what he
checkers and chess, baby.
Yeah,
Checkers
well,
and chess.
yeah. This is chess.
He's playing chess.
He set the Dems up to sit on their hands. He set them up. He said things that really everyone who's an American should agree with. Prosperity. Blacks have better jobs. Hispanics have better jobs. And they sat there. Even when they said about African American jobs, the Black Caucus sat there and snarled. That
You know why?
exposed them.
They said because Obama didn't get any credit for it.
Well, hell, I mean, well, heck, how much?
Jane, this is the last time I'm telling you this is a family show.
I heard you the other morning. Forget it.
Touche.
Everybody's rocking.
You go back and Trump says, we, the American people, we.
They counted that.
143.
No, they did.
Obama's I.
Yes.
Obama.
You're right.
I got the number, 143 to 29.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, Obama was I. Okay, now I want to wrap up. I want to go off what Jane said, because Jane, I do not know what energy drink. I don't know what you did before you got here.
The force. Everyone's taking force to give you more concentration.
Because when you got here, I tell you what.
Let the force be with you.
Well, let me say this, Jane. I said Rick and I had a conversation. Jane, you're 100% right, because the two parties, America, I'm okay, two parties. I'm okay, State of the Union, policy. I'm okay if the Democrats don't agree with the Republican president policy and they don't cheer. I'm okay if the Republicans don't agree with Democrat policy and they don't cheer. But there were so many America comments right, that all of the House should have stood. And I called Rick, I said, you know what was sad? It doesn't bother me that the opposing party sits through policy. Like, I want to do this, and they don't agree, so they sit. There was a time when Democrats like Sam Nunn, okay?
Yep.
There was a time when Democrats like, you know, even
Zell
Miller. There was a time when Democrats like even, you know, the Grand Wizard of the KKK.
Don't get me started.
Richard Byrd?
No.
Robert Byrd.
Robert Byrd
of
West Virginia, with his Constitution in his pocket, and taking, taking all the pork barrel spending back home. Yeah. But there was even a time that he would have stood. There was a time that the entire chamber would have stood when they heard, we honor our flag, we honor our country, the patriotic things that were said that were unifying, right? I guess that's the word. And that was disturbing to me. I tell you, it really was just like, wow, you know, what's wrong with you people?
I think it'd be interesting if I have time to go back and start somewhere back there about all the State of the Union addresses. Look at that issue. See how many times they all stood on unifying issues. That'd be kind of interesting. That'll just show how our country has just moved into the deep state.
So polarized.
Yeah.
All right. So the State of the Union. Your favorite statement, sentence. What is your favorite part of the State of the Union the other night?
I want to save that for my winners and losers, if I may.
Okay. We'll move that over to that segment. Would you like to take this?
Well, it was, you had a great segment on your show during the week where you were asking people to respond.
Yes,
in.
right after the State of the Union.
I think collectively the one that came out the most was the one about we have dreamers too.
Americans are dreamers too.
Right.
Exactly.
And
Americans are dreamers too.
That really jumped off the page. There were so many.
Oh, there's so many. I can't even say.
It's
American Grit was good. I liked American Grit.
Yeah, I did too.
What about you, Jane?
Well, I'm all into this deep state stuff, so I really liked it when he said, like all the secretaries, all the heads of committees, everyone, to get rid of the people in your organization of the government that are hurting this country and to.
Hey,
I mean, that was kind of under the radar, but if you were really listening to it, that was a serious thing.
He's in it to drain the swamp, and that's exactly
well, I will
what
tell
he's
you
trying to
this.
do.
I love that statement because we all have wondered. And I'm talking about people in Indiana, Kansas. There's actually people in California, New York, and New Jersey. Not everybody is so far left, okay? Because I'm going to tell you, the family that their kids were murdered by MS-13 are in Long Island, okay? They're not out in Kansas. They're in Long Island. So there's a lot of people in these areas, even, you know, the blue states that have had it, okay? So we understand, like, if you get fired, you don't come back the next day in the real world. And if you get fired, that company no longer sends you any more money. Just something about it. But in the government, you can't get fired, and you get reassigned. I tell you what, I like to, I mean, you talk about some bad words I'd like to use. Reassigned, you know?
Yeah.
Because I remember a guy, now I'm thinking this, right? I remember a guy fired me one time. Yes, I have been fired. And I remember a guy fired me one time, and now I'm thinking, I should have just said, can't you just reassign me? Can't you just reassign me to the other desk up front, you know?
Remember when George got fired?
If you had just told me that was wrong when I got here. But the reassignment. So Trump stands up and he says, look, and what did the media do the next morning? I like that because the next morning, what did MSNBC say? Well, the reason he said that is because he's setting up Mueller getting fired. No, he knows the head of the IRS should have been fired. He knows, you know, how many
Lerner should be gone.
Lois Lerner should have been fired.
Jail.
Right?
Head of the VA.
Head of the VA should have been fired. So he wants to
He's
take.
down in HR right now, by the way, counting.
He
days that
wants
are
to
left
take
around.
what I call he wants to take the untie these people to allow them to, you know, go for it and fire them, right?
But that's going to be a union fight because ever since they allowed government employees to unionize,
Big mistake.
Yeah, huge mistake.
Huge mistake.
When did that
Can't
happen?
fire anybody in the VA. Look at the
What
VA.
year? They're firing them, though. They fired them.
Finally started
Yeah.
to because Trump mandated.
I think it
that.
started.
All right, whoa, all right.
Okay, that's what I wondered. Yeah.
So many more subjects, but let's move
So
to
little time.
let's move to his layout. There's two things I want to get in, and Bruce is, you know, saving something for his final moments there, thoughts. So two more things. Where do you stand on the way he laid out the State of the Union, DACA, immigration? What say you? I got to do my, what is it, remember John McLaughlin? Remember?
Oh,
State of the Union. So let's see if I can get it. State of the Union, DACA. Go.
I think he set it up very well. He folded it into the speech, and I thought he did it very well.
Path to citizenship.
I think there will be that in there at the end of the day. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think that'll be in there.
You don't agree with it? Okay, I understand what you're saying.
The operative word that you just said, I think, set up. You said he set it up. He set that whole thing up to show that the Democrats were not serious.
He did.
They're not. They don't want to solve.
About
And he said that yesterday.
making something happen.
I'm going to give you what
They
you
are
want.
playing,
Yeah,
right?
let's
You're
go.
going to give me what I want.
I'm going to give you
That's what
1.8 million.
this
You ready
is.
to go? Let's do it.
Let's go.
And he follows it up with, like,
Crickets.
they're not serious about it.
They're not.
So,
He set them up.
I think
big
you're exactly
time.
right.
March 5th is going to come and go, and it's going to be a
Beautiful
disaster.
play.
Disaster. What say you about DACA, the way he set it up? And wait a minute, path to citizenship?
No. Yes. Without votes.
Without voting.
Without votes.
Agree.
Well, how can you? I think he set it up perfectly. I think they should never, ever, ever be able to vote. I don't know how you can be a citizen and not vote. I mean, I think they should have a permanent visa. Oh
There's
yeah,
a
you
lot
can
of
be a you can be
citizens.
a you can be a fraud. You have can be a
felon.
felon.
So that's what I said on my show the other day.
But a lot of states are
they want to
going
change
against
that.
New York and California are
I'm
both,
not sure how I
saying
feel
in
about
state
that.
elections they're going to let felons vote.
Right.
Maryland too.
But these people should never vote because so it's going to be 15 years. In 15 years they vote, then where are we then? I mean, unless we get on track and then win them over.
But do you think Rick is correct when Rick says he laid it out in a way to prove the you raise your hand. Bruce has his hand up, folks. what were you wanting?
I said
I'm calling on you.
Yeah, just like he did everything else.
But he set it up perfectly to prove the Dems don't want to solve it.
Right.
And he knew what was going to happen, and that's why he offered that. So now that it's really off the table. It was.
That's chess
It could
move.
be off the table. They've got to come back now. Here's my deal. What do you say?
Yeah, what do you got?
Yeah, checkmate.
Show me what you got.
Yeah, that's right. Checkmate.
Government shutdown. We're on another week. They got 3 weeks. What are we on? Another week? One, do they shut the government down again, Bruce? Is a two-part question. Do they shut the government down again? And two, do you think Trump was successful the first time in painting it as the Schumer shutdown, and can he do it again?
Yes, they're going to shut it down again, and yes, he was successful, and he'll be able to do it again.
What say you?
Totally agree.
Oh, that's all he's got.
Yeah.
And you?
No,
I agree. I agree. Now, just, every once in a while, I have to say I was right about something. Just every...
Yeah, there they go.
Make your production.
There's some validation.
They are. She's already gotten to know me in 2 weeks. So...
That's right.
Now, folks, and for you at home, did you not hear me say before the last shutdown that Trump was actually the first president, and the first one that would be able to turn it into their shutdown?
For them, yeah.
Right? Remember?
Exactly.
I've said that over and over.
Yep.
He framed it. He showed and that's why Schumer caved, is it backfired on Schumer and Pelosi so bad.
They were so used to being in the driver's seat every time there's a shutdown. They demonized it when Obama did it, to the point where they were, keeping World War II veterans behind a barricade so they couldn't see their fallen comrades at the World War II Museum.
Memorial.
Yeah.
Okay, folks.
They weaponized it was the word. I love that when they said they weaponized the shutdown.
And he set it up again for exactly what you asked. That the next one's coming, and it's going to be deja vu all over again.
Yeah, and I do not think. I think the shutdown. I think they framed that to seriously, you're going to shut down the government over illegals.
Yeah.
And I think the other night in the State of the Union, I think in the State of the Union the other night, he laid it out and said, I got a plan. Most Americans agree with my plan. Most do, whether they're going to report it or not. Most agree with my plan. A lot of people are like you, Bruce. Well, I'm a little iffy on it, but if it's going to get done, it's got to get done, right? But you know what I'm saying?
I'm iffy on deep state. I'm not iffy on everything.
But you know what I'm saying?
I got to send you some stuff.
But you understand what I'm saying? So I think he has it laid out, and he could say, look, because I read a tweet, I think it was yesterday, he tweeted out that, Dems are not serious. He said, I got a plan. I sent it to him. I don't know if you read his tweet. Yeah. They're not serious. They won't even talk.
Well, the same thing. He's weaponized it even more.
Folks, at this time, we got a couple minutes. We got about 12 minutes left, about 10 minutes, and I like to make sure. Put your hand down. I'll get to you.
Just use the restroom. Sorry.
I can take it.
Okay, folks, at this time,
I'm going to forget what I was going to say.
I'd like to give our guests, the panel, an opportunity to have a couple moments of the subject they want to talk about and bring up. So, Bruce, Bruce has started two things. He didn't clear it with the Home Office. Okay, we never got we did not get the memo.
Sam and I.
Okay, we didn't get the memo. He never cleared it. Nobody told me, but he started his Saul Alinsky Rules for Radical series. I didn't know we were doing it, but I kind of like it once they got going. And now he started Winners and Losers. I didn't know we did. No, Rick did. Rick did Winners and Losers. So this is where, Bruce, what do you have this morning?
Let me do number 3 in the Saul Alinsky Rules for Radicals. Again, I'm just reading these. There's 8 altogether, so I'm on 5 and 6 today. This is what this community organizer basically says for people who want to create all kinds of issues with the government and take control. So welfare, take control of every aspect of their lives and survival. Food, housing, health care, and income. Education, control what people listen to. Control what children are taught in school. Emphasize progressive ideals only.
It'd be a good idea if you read all of them, just repeat all of them, and then add the last one every week so people can get them all. So start at the top.
All right, so
do we have
Jay, our producer over here, our director has decided that she would like for your segment to go a little different direction.
I can read the first 6 real quick. Healthcare, poverty, debt, gun control, welfare, education, and then there's 2 to come, religion and class warfare.
Okay, now you said you wanted to save one of my questions for winners and losers.
Yeah, we're not there yet. They got to do that.
We got a lot of producers around here.
Rick, what do you have?
Oh my gosh! Now you got me. You've thrown me off. Let's see, winners and losers.
Want to come back to you?
Let's go back. Let's focus on the Olympics, the Winter Olympics that are coming up.
Oh.
The loser. Now this is we're going somewhere with this. The loser, Megyn Kelly.
Oh,
she got bounced in favor of Katie Couric, and she is so mad.
She did? I didn't
She's
know.
going
I don't keep up with
she's off the rails. The winners are the athletes because they set a record this year for the number of condoms that will be distributed at the Olympics. 110,000, which equates to...
Who got that contract? I want to know who's making all
which
that
equates
money.
to 37 condoms per athlete, and they say that most of them will take them home as souvenirs.
Do they come in like silver, gold?
Really?
No, you're right.
That's what you brought us?
It's gold, silver, bronze, latex. There's going to be four awards this year.
That's what you brought us.
I read that on Fox cover page this morning, and I said, "I've got
Jane,
to
please bring
this
us back into. What do you have?
I think are going to be the winners. This is complicated.
Okay, well, so focus.
Everyone, focus.
Pay attention.
I'm ready.
The winners are going to be those adamant liberals, like some of my relatives, who love America deep down. They've just drunk the Kool-Aid. But they're not into the deep state. They're not in for overthrowing the country. They still want freedom. They blah, 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 those stuff. But they are bleeding liberals. They hate Trump. They are going to be educated and enlightened when all this comes out. And they are going to say there's something to this, and they're going to change. And they're going to be the winners.
How can they say they love America if they're for open borders?
Because,
they have waves of immigration. How?
Well, they're gonna see. People's minds are going to be changed that were on the other side of the fence, down knee deep in the mud. I think they're gonna.
Boy, that's going to be a stretch.
How many murders?
I think they will.
By immigrants or MS-13 does it take? I mean, to get people to get away.
Well, that's a point. So forget I said that.
Your wallet and the tax plan exposed. There's a reason why the enormous tax burden in Connecticut, the enormous tax burden in New Jersey and Illinois,
local tax
because there's a reason why that you wonder why do the rich people still live there, because they were given loopholes. Liberals are liars. They were given loopholes to take their taxes off their taxes by reporting their state taxes over on their federal. So they were able to shift some things around, and the rich, liberal whack jobs were not paying the taxes that they. But the poor person that worked at Walmart, Burger King, McDonald's, they paid the enormous taxes.
In New York,
that's right.
New Jersey,
California. They got the break, and the rich people up there are like, oh my God, now Hartford, Connecticut could just go broke. I'm moving. I'm serious. That the wallet. I think you're right, and I think some things are getting exposed.
When these
now that's just my
these
take.
people I'm speaking
I don't know
of
if I'm right or wrong.
see what Hillary Clinton
I know what
really
the odds
is.
are.
When they see what Hillary really is and what she's done, the people that are staunch Hillary, I know a lot of them, when they see what she's done and how she has been so treasonous, if they don't change, it's going to be really serious.
Okay, back to you. I do not want to leave you. I'm just hanging on the edge of this couch here at Circuit World on my winners and losers.
Okay.
And that I'm at Circuit World. This is the couch. I'm hanging on the edge. What do we got?
Loser.
Chief
Wahoo.
Oh, I know you did. You stabbed me right in the heart.
And Cleveland's dropping him.
Ricky Vaughn.
Can they still be called a tribe without a chief?
I understand. Oh, Bruce, you're so right.
Show him the heater, Ricky.
And my winner is Ji Seong Ho, the Korean guy that stood up at the State of the Union with his crutches in his one hand. His other hand is gone. Both his legs are gone. What a story! What a story!
Unbelievable.
In spirit.
Yep.
I'll have to tell you, I was coming.
It was very emotional.
I came in after the State of the Union address, and that morning we opened the show up, and it just really got active. Amanda was getting text messages, and we opened the show up just to discuss State of the Union. And I came in early that morning. I'm going to be serious. I did not do that story because I didn't want to be in tears. I'm serious. Because I get really emotional over the young man that was Otto. That messes me up every time I think about they sent that kid home dead. And
look at his parents,
right? And his parents were there.
Parents are
and when I saw that,
the other parents you talked about, the MS-13.
Yeah, that just messed me up. So, okay, folks, this is our conclusion of the All-Star panel, but we don't want to leave without a little final thought here. Number one, the Winter Olympics. I like the Winter Olympics much more than I do the Summer Olympics. Like I said the other day, I'm not, don't take me wrong, but, to watch a couple Ethiopians run around the track and, and Jamaicans and stuff. I know they love to run, and I know that, and I'm like, look, they're running. But, I'm okay with the Summer Olympics. It's good, But the Winter Olympics is where it's happening. I love the Winter Olympics. So I want to give a free shout out to Hula, because Hulu, my God, there's no A, please leave me alone. There's no A, I'm sorry. Can I give my shout out? Back off. Whoever they are, I'm giving them a shout out because they sent me a message that said, customize your Winter Olympic experience. So I was able to go down all the events and check them off, so I will get a notification when all of them. I mean, it's just, what is the thing, the luge or Skeletor, whatever? It's sleigh riding. Skeletor, right? What is it? It's sleigh riding, right? So I love the bobsled. Leave me alone, people. Stop it now.
We're having a back conversation.
So anyhow, I love the Olympics. I love the Winter Olympics. I love the speed skating. I mean, they're going around. I love all about it. Everything. The Winter Olympics, I can't wait. But the most exciting sport ever known. I'm telling you, I will be glued to the TV. It's intense. I mean, the crowd goes wild. The cheering.
Be good.
It's not.
We just signed up to be your broom boys.
Curling, baby. Curling.
When you launch that stone, we're going to be your broom boys.
One day I just want to go down, and I want to slide the rock. I love it with a passion.
I want to be a sweet
I love curling, and I can't wait. State of the Union the other night. Here's where I want to close. Hey, Bruce. I'm asking nicely for all of you to calm down because I'm getting serious with America, okay? The State of the Union the other night, what really framing it in is President of the United States gave back the chamber to the people. The other night he said that chamber belonged to the people. If you're a plumber out in Kansas, if you're an electrician, if you're a school teacher, no matter what you do this morning when you go to work, he acknowledged it was your house, your chamber, and he was there representing you. That's where you need to catch on to America First, because you are America and you are first in his eyes, and I do not know why the rest can't see it. Number two, most watched State of the Union address in an enormous amount of years. Highest ratings, okay? And what that really means is the people watch the president. So don't get all mixed up with all these TVs and everything like that on these big networks, because what really upsets them is there's people like us out here that are going to bring you the truth. That's what they can't take. Is who we used to have. Now remember Watergate? The only thing we had in Watergate was the big three. We had to wait for ABC, NBC, and CBS at night to tell us what they wanted us to think. But they're shattered right now. Adam Schiff and all the others are just running around in circles because there's people like us that are going to come tell you the truth about it, and they don't control the narrative any longer. So I have so much fun with you guys, I really do, and I want to thank you for joining me every Friday. I want to thank you for joining me. We have a whole lot of fun, but we really bring our viewers. We got a couple in California. You know, you've been talking to the left coast, whether you realize it or not. We're going to take a break, and after this break, this is the All-Star Political Panel. After this break, we're going to have a North Georgia Sports Weekend Review update with Jason Banks, and then it'll be time for our Pet of the Week. Guys, thank you. Take us out of here.
I've had the time of my life. I never felt like this before. I
Just is. Hey, we're back. I'm your host, BKP, and we're at Circuit World here in Blue Ridge, and it's time for a North Georgia Sports Week in Review with Director of TeamFYNSports, Jason Banks. Jason, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great.
I don't even know where you start because, I mean, between wrestling and basketball and youth basketball and baseball starting up and, I mean, a little bit of everything. What you got?
Oh, you know, I was going to start with North Carolina, but we could start with some Georgia stuff and kind of end over there if you want to. Obviously, we've had a lot of fun this week covering the Gilmer Parks and Rec tournament. If you haven't checked that out, go to our YouTube channel. We've got all the games are archived on our YouTube channel. We're also live streaming every night. So tonight we'll be live streaming once again at 6 o'clock. And then, of course, tomorrow, Championship Saturday should be exciting. If you don't have anything going on, come to Gilmer and watch some basketball.
Go ahead and go into North Carolina. I think I know where you're going with that. Let's go into North Carolina and give us a little update there.
Had a lot of fun going to watch the Murphy Bulldogs and Murphy Lady Dogs play on Tuesday night. I saw them play at the Battle of the States, which they both teams dominated the Battle of the States tournament in Towns County earlier this season. It's amazing whenever you're watching basketball how you can kind of forget how good a team is and how fast a team is. And I met with Coach Ray Gutierrez right before the game. I had a chance to say hey to him, and he, of course, was glad to see that TeamFYNSports was there to cover the event. But, man, so fast, Brian. I've never seen a girls' basketball team as fast and efficient as the Murphy Lady Bulldogs are. Not to mention how they pack the place out. I mean, I wish that everyone at all the schools that we cover would just have just a moment to see what they're doing over there in Murphy, because we've covered some of their football and we've covered some of their basketball, and they don't have $1 million football field.
Right, they don't.
And they don't have $1 million basketball court. It's a lot like some of the JV or middle school courts that we see. But unbelievable turnout of the fans, and the players are so good. And what was really great is I'm watching Murphy do what they do. The Lady Bulldogs going up like 14-4 in the first quarter, and basically just running away with it from there. I mean, they won 67-46. It was Robbinsville. Robbinsville was 6-3, 15-5 overall. So pretty good team, and just not even close the whole game. But the administrators that I got to meet with while I was there were talking about not only the basketball program in Murphy are they great athletes, but they're also really great students, and that as an average overall, most of those students are top in their class as far as GPA goes. So that's pretty impressive too, especially considering the strain of a basketball schedule. Right, 2-3 games a week, late nights, bus rides. You get your homework done, still have good grades. There's something to be said there. So hats off to what they're doing over there in Murphy. So the girls are 20-1, 9-0 overall. They had a close game against Cherokee this past week, 77-74, but they broke a 30-game conference winning streak for the Cherokees. So that was probably a really good moment for them, I would expect. And they dominated Andrews 65-27. And a couple of players I want to mention, Aubrey Clapsaddle, great shooter. I don't know exactly how many three-pointers she hit. I saw her hit 3, but I know she had more than that. And then Jessica Beckner has over 1,000 career points this season. I believe she's a junior. I could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure she's a junior. And just tall, athletic, really dominant on the boards, really great athlete. So that's my Murphy spill for you. The boys playing really good basketball as well, but I mean, the Lady Bulldogs they're phenomenal. Out of all the teams that we cover, I would say by far the best athletes that I've seen all year.
Lady Bulldogs.
Absolutely.
What else you got going on? I mean, we have so much from wrestling, and I don't know what direction you're going, and we only got a couple minutes here, but what else you want to...
Union County girls still playing great basketball. They had a tough, very good win against Lumpkin County this week, and they also beat East Hall 61-53. Kate McCarter, Annalyn Hill, and then Aubrey Pack, who was formerly a fan of Rebel, who moved to Union County this past year, and she's playing great basketball. Fannin The girls, tough loss last night to North Hall. They're 2-9 in region play now. And the boys are 2-9 in region play too. They led the whole game against North Hall and then lost in the final minutes. Really close game at 51-46. They're playing hard. You know, you got to figure the team that's got 3 wins in the whole season, 3-19 or 3-20 overall. You would think, man, they're just not very good. But they're really that's not the case. If you look at the games that they've played, I mean, yeah, GAC beat up on Fannin, but Gilmer only beat them by a point, and Lumpkin only beat them by, GHSA actually only beat them by 7 this week. So that was a really tough game when Lumpkin came to town too. So I'll let you read between the lines on that one. But
well, I want to go back to something, and I know we don't have a lot of time, but I want to go back to something. You mentioned the Fannin Lumpkin game. Is this the game that Reagan wrote a story on that we talked about?
Absolutely.
Folks, I want you to go read this story on FetcherNews.com, Fannin County. Go to FetcherNews.com, Fannin County. Click on TeamFYNSports and read the story that Reagan wrote. She did something that we're very proud of her.
Right.
The story she did. But she touched on the officiating. Now, here at TeamFYNSports, we're always highlighting and promoting young athletes in a positive way. We write the sports. Well, we're cautious on how we approach some things. They are students. They are high school kids, whatever. But officials are officials. They actually walk away with a paycheck.
Absolutely.
So when somebody's walking away and they got paid to do something, then I hate to say criticism, but the criticism, we need to be more. You understand where I'm going?
Everyone in the building is being critical and analytical when it comes to officiating and coaching. Right? They do that. I mean, and you got parents, you got faculty, and then you got the media, right? Those of us are there to write a story, right? We want to paint a picture, but we want to make sure that we're telling the truth and telling the facts. It's exactly what Reagan did in her article. She spoke with me before she published her article. Of course, I read it, and then, I made a phone call to you, and this is how the process works. We want to make sure that what we're writing is basically how it is.
Right.
And it is what it is.
So, if you read that article, she takes the officiating a little to task, does she not?
Anytime you see a head coach like Coach Eggs, I'd say you got a technical in the first minute. Way to go, Coach. You got heart. You got heart. You don't want to lose, right? Because we know whether anybody likes it or not in sports, there's winners and losers. That doesn't mean that if you lose that you're a loser, but technically someone's going to win and someone's going to lose when they step on the court, and nobody likes to lose. And anybody that thinks that Fannin likes the fact that they're 3-19 doesn't go to the games or doesn't pay attention, I guess, because Eggleston's so fired up within the first minute. In this game in particular, he got a technical, probably a little premature, and you could expect from the perspective of someone watching the game that the officials automatically started to feel a little hostility there, and it is what it is.
Give me a final thought. I know we're running short. Is there anything else there that you wanted to highlight before we close? I know there's so much in so short time.
No, I mean, sectionals, wrestling. My man, Bradley Flowers, Fannin County senior, go win it all, man. The three Fannin wrestlers made it to sectional. Bradley Flowers was the one Fannin wrestler that won area. Gilmer, go win it all. What do we say? They're great. Gilmer's fortunate. They got Jefferson on the other sectional bracket, so they should actually do really well. And just be confident. Your program speaks for itself, and you belong there. And then Pickens sending a record number of athletes and a record number of wrestlers to wrestle at sectionals. We look forward to seeing how you guys do.
Folks, you're watching the wrap-up of the week. TeamFYNSports. I just want to give you a couple things before we go. We only get about 10-15 minutes, sometimes a little longer here on Friday mornings, but we're going to start highlighting this upcoming week. Look for March 1st, TeamFYNSports, Jason Banks. Look for his own show coming out. a 30-minute show where coaches interviews, a lot more time for him to focus on highlighting sports in North Georgia. So that's coming March 1st. That's coming, so be ready for that, Team FYN Sports. We'd like for you to find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Team FYN Sports. And anytime you go to fetchyournews.com, any of the counties, click on Team FYN Sports for all of the scores, highlights, and updates. Also, we have been broadcasting a Team FYN Sports production for our third year, the Gilmer County Park and Rec Youth Basketball Tournament. It's a lot of fun. 8 and 9-year-olds, 10 and 11-year-olds, the 12-year-olds, and we're watching the future talent of the Bobcats, having a whole lot of fun with that. You've been watching that on FYN TV. We'll be there again tonight. Last night, just a closer. Do you not think you're watching 10-year-old kids, but do you not think in your mind that you're going to hear in high school in just a handful of years, A.J. Callahan for 2?
So good, man.
Right? I don't want to leave a single kid out, but right? A.J. Callahan for 2.
Incredibly good.
So watch that, and we're out. This is Jason Banks, Team FYN Sports Director, and get ready for his own show coming March 1st on the first week of March on FYNTV.com. It is now time for our Pet of the Week. We wait for this star every week right after these messages.
I've had the time of my life. I never felt like this before. I swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you. I'll tell you something. This could be love because I've had the time of my life. I've never felt like this before, 'cause I've had the time of my life.
Hey folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP, and it is time for the star of the show. Somebody we wait on. This is the star right here. Every week comes down to this. The Pet of the Week from the Humane Society of Blue Ridge. Rena, thank you very much for bringing this beautiful lady here this morning. And that happens to be her name,
That
right?
is her name. Her name is Lady. Lady is about six years old. She's looking for a good home. She had a pre-adoption on her. I did want to mention this. She did have a pre-adoption on her, and an emergency came up with the lady that was going to adopt her. And so she said that she's unable to adopt her at that time. So I just wanted folks to know that's okay. You know, if you put in a pre-adoption and then it's almost time for you to take the dog home and something happens, it's okay. You know, we just take it off and then we continue to show her. And she wants to keep on file. So if, you know, whatever happens, we don't get into the personal business, but if whatever happened, gets fixed, then she'll come back and get her if she's still there. Otherwise, she does still want to adopt another dog. So, things happen in life, and it just wasn't the right time. But we're really not sure what the mix is with Lady. She has spotted ears, like Dalmatian, kind of. She has kind of husky fur, but Lady is a sweetheart. Lady rides beautiful in a vehicle. She probably would be good with kids. We've never really had a kid check her out, but she's just so, I don't think there's a mean bone in her body. She's just such a sweet girl. And she is an older dog, so, she's very good to walk, never goes in her kennel. So she's just, she's a good catch, aren't you, baby? Yes, she is.
Now, you said Lady is about 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
6 years old. And what are you guys picking up? You think kids or companion dog? Did you just tell me that?
All of that. All of it.
I said we're not too sure. We don't know. I would personally think kids would be fine because she doesn't have that.
You really just said all that?
Yeah, she did.
Well, I was looking at the dog.
Yeah, you really were. You were kind of mesmerized. But yes.
No, I was looking at this beautiful dog. I don't pay attention. I pay attention to the dog.
It's just funny.
I mean.
Yes, the lady that was going to adopt her did have another dog, and she was wanting to get her dog a playmate. And Lady was good, so she's good with some dogs. Some dogs she doesn't care for, so it would have to be a meet and greet with the dogs. And of course, if you have a kid, we would ask you to bring the child over and make sure Lady's good with the child. She does run and play. Lady was heartworm positive, and are you listening?
So what do you?
Yeah,
she was heartworm positive when she came in, so she's been through all of her treatments, and we are starting her on limited exercise right now. But once she gets through all of that, then she's able to play and run, and she does. She doesn't look like she does here, but she does play and run. And guess who went home Wednesday?
Who?
Cooper. I'm sorry. Yeah, not Cooper. You don't even know Cooper. Gosh, I just lost. Gunner. I just forgot his name.
Oh.
See what you do to me? Gunner went to his house, and he literally went from like rags to riches. He went from being tied on a chain to a beautiful home, and he has a sister, so he's living the life he would love to live. And Buddy, remember little Buddy?
Yeah.
Buddy went to his home Wednesday. He's got a little 4-year-old boy that he absolutely loves. And Buddy picked this family because he knew this was his family. And guess who went home Saturday?
Who?
Yeah, Wednesday was Rusty.
Oh, okay.
Rusty.
Finally.
Good old Rusty. Yeah, he was with us almost a year. Buddy was with us almost a year. I keep forgetting his name now. What was his name? Gunner. Gunner was only with us a couple of months, but so we need to find Lady a good home, and so she.
So what are we picking up here? Kids or
possibly kids, possibly other dogs.
Or did I ask that already?
You did ask that about 2 times.
Brian.
I'm just joking. My gosh, everybody's so serious.
And see, she has her Valentine's Day scarf on. There you go. See how sweet she is.
Folks, if you would like to take this beautiful lady home today.
You gonna sing?
No, I was going to, but
Not sing.
No. If you would like to take this beautiful lady home today, you get in touch with the Humane Society of Blue Ridge. That's humanesocietyofblueridge.org. Don't forget, you schedule a meet and greet. You bring the family. You bring the other dog if you have another pet. And schedule a meet and greet, because what we like to do is we like to find them their forever home, and so we schedule that. And you have on your Facebook page the pictures of all the cats and all the dogs.
Yes, we have all of our cats and dogs on Facebook. We have lost and found animals on Facebook. You can call us at 706-632-4357, or just come on out and meet our animals, cats and dogs. 171 Mineral Springs Road, which is just off of Aska. And we are open Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 to 5, and Saturday, 10 to 2.
And yes, there's cats available.
Yes, there are. We have a lot of cats. Cats and kittens, old, young, playful, and just relaxed, just will do their own thing.
But this beautiful lady's waiting. Oh, do we have to end the show? Please, let's find Lady a home today. And you can go out and visit the Humane Society. We always like to say the Humane Society of Blue Ridge thank all of the volunteers. They're always in need of volunteers to help out there, so you can get in touch with them. Humane Society of Blue Ridge, Humane Society of Blue Ridge Import.org. They're always looking for volunteers, and we want to thank all of the people that put their time in on the board, the entire organization. Great organization for these dogs. Rena, I want to always say thank you to you every week. I know, folks, let me close this one this way. I know every week I pay attention to these beautiful dogs, and I really do. Don't forget, we're FetchYourNews.com if you haven't caught on yet. We like our doggies. So I always pay attention to these dogs, but I want to say a special thank you to you every Friday for your commitment to bring one of these beautiful dogs to the show and do everything you can to help rescue and get these guys and girls adopted.
And we thank you too, because otherwise, they wouldn't be out there on TV.
Who the puppy?
Getting their TV.
Okay,
debut.
Did we forget anything?
I don't think
you
so.
told people where you're at. You told people your Facebook.
Phone number.
Website.
Always looking for volunteers.
And cats are available. That's our close. Folks, we'll be back Monday morning in the office. Good morning from the office. Monday morning at 8 a.m. on FYN TV. We have been at Circuit World. Come in and say JR. Now this week, if you're wondering, we did not bring JR into this week because the place is so busy all morning long. He's been with customers, but that's Circuit World. Always specials going on. TVs, washers and dryers, and furniture, you name it. Come see JR at Circuit World of Blue Ridge. 5 locations: East Ellijay, Blue Ridge, Blairsville, and 2 locations in North Carolina, Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina. Take us out of here. We'll see you Monday morning at 8 a.m.